I turned myself in on my own accord to try to get this taken care of. So I'm just hoping to see if I can get a bond today, so I can be home for Christmas. I paid the bondsman $500 to get me to court. When I called the bondsman tells me he's out of town. I don't know.
I don't understand why you're telling me that it's up to your bondsman to get you to court. It
I'm
looks
going to be
like
sitting
where it
here
is.
till January 3rd.
What?
I'm going to be sitting here till January 3rd after I've been sitting in jail 10 days.
All right, picture this. A man sitting in court desperate to go home for Christmas. He's been locked up for 10 days after turning himself in, and now he's hoping this judge will give him a bond so he can spend the holidays with his family. The thing is,
How you doing today?
Fine. Are you Mr. Kelly?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm Judge Sanders. We're just having a docket call today. That's the purpose of this. And what it is, Mr. Kelly, is that's a 2020 case that you had. And apparently, uh, the state is requesting that your probation on that case be revoked and that you.
Yes, sir. So, I bonded out on that case, correct? And I paid the bondsman $500 to get me to court. When I called the bondsman tells me he's out of town. So I called Judge Sanderfield's office 3 times. Then I called the court clerk 3 times, and I called the district attorney's office and try to get a Zoom link. They told me they couldn't give me a Zoom link on the case. So I called back my bondsman. He says, well, what you need to do is start walking. So I called my attorney, Watts, at the time, and he said there was nothing he could do for me. So 10 days ago, I just got a new job working at Kohl's, making $27 an hour. 10 days ago, on Friday the 13th, I go turn myself in to Sedgwick County to get this taken care of. And then, I guess they finally just get a hold of you guys a couple of days ago on the 20th and said that I was ready to be picked up. But I turned myself in. I did everything I was supposed to do to try to get to court on back in July. I did. I mean, I called everybody I could, tried the judge, everybody, so my bond wouldn't get revoked. And then, I turned myself in on my own accord to try to get this taken care of. So I'm just hoping to see if I can get a bond today, so I can be home for Christmas. I did do my part of turning myself in and did everything I could back in July to get here. And I just want to get this taken care of. It's a 4-year-old case, sir. And like I said, I just got a $27 an hour paying job, and I just would like to get it taken care of.
It looks like back in June, your judge revoked your bond. You failed to appear.
Yes.
The court issued a bench warrant and a no bond hold.
Yes, sir. I understand that because I didn't show up in court, but it wasn't my fault. I paid the bondsman $500 to get me here, and he couldn't get me here. It was his duty to get me here when I paid him $500. I bonded out and gave him $500 to make sure I got here. And then when he told me he couldn't get me here, I called everybody I could. The judges' chambers. I called the district attorney. I called everybody I could, and it was all documented. And I even called Mr. Watts, my lawyer at the time, and no one could help me out. But now that I got this new paying job, I turned myself in on my own accord. I figured I should at least be able to get a bond so I can I'm trying to do what's right here, by turning myself in and getting this taken care of. And
this all goes back to a theft case from 4 years ago. Yeah, 4 years. And as much as he's trying to play the I did the right thing card, there's a reason he's sitting there today. He skipped court once before. Now you can.
I don't understand why you're telling me that it's up to your bondsman to get you to court.
Well, I paid him $500 to make sure I got here.
How much was your bond?
5,000.
Well, that's just the bondsman's fees for putting the money up for you. That's not the.
I figured that's
ain't their job to make sure I get here.
Ain't it their job to make sure I get to court though?
No. not unless you got some special arrangement with him, and that's nothing that the court has to do. And that's just his fee to make a bond for you so that you don't have to put up any money. Well, all right, in any event, Judge Satterfield has set that as a no bond hold. She wants to see you before she'd even consider bond, and I'm not going to do a sideways appeal on this and overrule her. So
I can't get no bond?
Nope, no bond. Now, what they have done is give you a special setting, expedited hearing on your case. And this is for bond revocation. And it's at 1:30 on January the 3rd. And that's to be in person.
And Your Honor,
And no bond until that time. Yes, Mr. Regier.
based off of the state's information, that is a 1 o'clock setting, but I believe it is an in-person setting on January 3rd.
I thought I said that. Maybe I didn't. Yeah, it's in person, right?
That is the state's understanding, Your Honor.
Yes, I understand that too. So, that
So I'm
looks
gonna be
like
sitting
where it
here
is.
till January 3rd.
What?
I'm gonna be sitting here till January 3rd after I've been sitting in jail 10 days.
Yes. Well, then I suggest that you do. I take it that you don't have money for a lawyer, and Mr. Watts had previously represented you. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what you might do, because at this point, I'm going to go ahead and reappoint him for you, is you might get a hold of him and see.
Ain't no way of getting a hold of him. I've been trying to get a hold of him for a week.
You have his number?
Yeah, I got his number. My wife got his number. My mom got his number. We all been trying to get a hold of him for a week. I've been sitting in Sedgwick County Jail for a week.
Well, I'd suggest that maybe you try to give him a call this afternoon. If in any event,
How's that gonna help me any?
well, he could maybe file an emergency motion with Judge Satterfield, because I'm not going to overrule another judge here on that.
All right, so I guess we done here then.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you. You're excused.
Your Honor, could you repeat the time for the January 3rd date,
Yes.
please?
It's January the 3rd at 1 p.m. and she wants that in person. So I take it that means he needs to be at the courthouse in court.
Feel the tension in this courtroom. The air is heavy, like everyone's waiting to see which way this judge leans. Will he show mercy and let the guy out for Christmas, or keep him behind bars to teach a lesson about responsibility? Honestly, even I don't know how to feel yet. The man, Mr. Kelly, starts explaining himself. Says he's the one who turned himself in on his own accord, just trying to get things taken care of. He's polite, nervous, even a little shaky. Claims he's just hoping for a bond, wants to be home with his family, celebrate Christmas, maybe get a fresh start. Then comes his story. He says he paid his bondsman $500 to get him to court. But apparently, when court day came, the bondsman was out of town. And instead of showing up, he says he called the judge's office 3 times. Then he called the clerk's office 3 more times. Even the district attorney's office. All trying, he says, to get a Zoom link so he could attend virtually, but no one helped him. At least that's his version. He says even his lawyer told him there was nothing that could be done. So he went to work at Kohl's, making what he proudly claims was 27 an hour, and decided to just turn himself in to clear things up. Now, if you're watching this and thinking, well, maybe he really tried, I get it. The guy sounds like he's been through the ringer. But here's where things start to fall apart. Because when you start talking about paying your bondsman to get you to court, that's when the judge's eyebrows go up. The judge cuts him off, calm but firm. I don't understand why you're telling me it's up to your bondsman to get you to court, he says. And Mr. Kelly, still standing there like he's been wronged, replies, well, I paid him $500 to make sure I got here. And that's where it hits you. This man doesn't even understand how bail works. The judge tries to explain it gently. That's just the bondsman's fee for putting the money up. It's not his job to get you to court. But the guy still doesn't get it. He looks confused, lost, like he's realizing too late that his excuses don't hold up. Ain't it their job to make sure I get to court, though? He asks again. No, the judge says, not unless you have a special arrangement with him. That fee is just so you don't have to pay the full bond yourself. And right there, that's when you realize the tide has turned. The judge's patience is fading. Mr. Kelly's explanations are running dry. And the hope of walking out before Christmas? It's slipping fast. Judge Sanders keeps it straightforward. The original judge on the case, Judge Satterfield, already revoked his bond. She issued a no-bond hold, meaning this man isn't going anywhere until she decides otherwise. And Judge Sanders isn't about to overstep another judge's ruling. So when Mr. Kelly asks, "So I can't get no bond?" the answer comes back sharp and final. Nope. No bond. You can see the frustration wash over his face. 10 days in jail, and now he's told he'll be sitting there until January 3rd for a bond revocation hearing. 10 days becomes 25. Christmas? Gone. But to make it worse, he still doesn't quite understand why. He keeps circling back to his bondsman, his calls, his supposed 27-an-hour job. It's like he's pleading not just with the judge, but with anyone who will listen. At this point, I'll be honest. I wanted to feel sorry for the guy. He sounds desperate, maybe even sincere. But the more he talks, the more you start to realize he's living in denial. He's blaming everyone but himself. The system, the bondsman, the lawyer, the timing. Everyone except the one person who missed that court date, himself. And that's where this courtroom moment hits hard, because it's a mix of sympathy and disbelief. A man who might have had a shot to go home for the holidays, but who still doesn't quite understand the weight of his own choices. As the hearing continues, you can feel the tension crackle in the air. Mr. Kelly's trying to reason with the judge, still clinging to hope, still trying to find some loophole, some magic phrase that might make this all go away, but it's not happening. Judge Sanders stays calm, but there's this unmistakable firmness in his tone. He explains again that Judge Satterfield set the no-bond hold, and he's not about to overrule another judge. That line lands heavy. Because right there, Mr. Kelly realizes his Christmas plans just died in that courtroom. He starts pleading, not loud or angry, but with that kind of tired desperation that makes you almost pity him. So what? I'm going to be sitting here till January 3rd after I've already been sitting in jail 10 days? He asks. The judge doesn't flinch. Yes, he replies. Straightforward, no hesitation. You can hear the air leave the man's lungs. It's like reality just smacked him across the face. He's realizing he's not walking out of there today. He's realizing that maybe, just maybe, those excuses he clung to for months, about the bondsman, the calls, the missed link, they aren't going to save him. Then comes the next blow. The judge mentions reappointing his old lawyer, Mr. Watts, to represent him again. Mr. Kelly jumps in quickly, frustrated, talking over the bench. Ain't no way getting hold of him. I've been trying to get a hold of him for a week. My wife got his number, my mom got his number, nobody can reach him. You can feel the helplessness in his voice. He's stuck in a cycle, waiting on people who won't pick up the phone, blaming everyone in sight, and still hoping someone else fixes the mess he created. The judge keeps his composure, patient, but clearly ready to move on. Maybe try giving him a call this afternoon, he says, even though you can tell he knows it's not going to change much. Mr. Kelly just shakes his head, defeated. How's that going to help me any? He mutters. The judge gives his final piece of advice. Maybe his lawyer can file an emergency motion with Judge Satterfield. But he's quick to add he's not overruling her decision. Not today, not for this case, and with that, it's over. The hearing wraps up. Mr. Kelly lets out a small sigh, the sound of a man realizing he's spending the holidays behind bars. He mutters a quiet, "Thank you," but you can hear the disappointment in his voice. Before he leaves, the clerk clarifies the date, January 3rd, 1 p.m. in person. That's when the next chapter of this saga continues. Now here's where things get interesting. because after watching this entire exchange, you start to wonder, was the judge too harsh? Or was he just doing his job? Personally, I think the judge got it right. Yeah, missing Christmas behind bars hurts. Nobody wants that. But at the end of the day, actions have consequences. Mr. Kelly didn't just miss court, he missed responsibility. And when you do that, the court doesn't take it lightly. And let's be honest, the way he kept talking about that $500 like it bought him a chauffeur to court? That's just not how any of this works. You pay a bondsman to post your bail, not to hold your hand through the process. If you can't figure out your court date, that's on you. Now, about that 27 an hour job at Kohl's. I don't know about you, but that one raised an eyebrow for me. I've never heard of a department store paying nearly $30 an hour to a new hire. Maybe he was in management, maybe he was exaggerating, or maybe he thought throwing in a high number might earn him some sympathy. Either way, the judge didn't take the bait. At the end of the day, the decision stood. No bond, no Christmas at home, and maybe that's the wake-up call this man needed. Sometimes life gives you warnings, and sometimes it gives you walls. So now, all he can do is sit in that cell, count the days till January 3rd, and think about every missed call, every excuse, and every moment that led him right back to where he started, behind bars. Because at the end of the day, it's simple. You can't buy your way out of accountability.